Hello and welcome to the next episode of 33 Conversations. Hello, I'm your host, Michael Abney. I host the podcast. I'm the founder of 33 Strangers. And I am here to have amazing out-of-the-box conversations with founders and builders and creators, people that are following that hunch inside of them that spends, maybe someday I'm going to get to that. And they're going beyond their fear and they're stepping into who they are and falling in love with the unknown, or sometimes not. Sometimes that can be a little bit scary. It's actually what attracted me to you, Darla. Darla is our guest today, Darla Ridilla, and you are in Durango, Colorado. And you reached out. You had, I loved your, like what you said that you were in the middle of, is this void space of like, I used to be this person and now I feel this void. And the unknowns that come with that. I think a lot of us are going through that. I certainly did about a year ago. So I am excited to meet you, and I'm excited to hear your story about what you're doing right now. And we talked a little bit before the pod, and if something comes up today, you're willing to like actually real time have a conversation with me that could cause a breakthrough for you and anybody that's listening, which I'm grateful that you said yes to. It's like something that I'm really passionate about is real time embodiment of transformation. You know, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I'll think about that later. No, let's do it now. That's a perfect time. So welcome to the show. I appreciate you. And just introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about like where you kind of are right now.
Yeah, thank you, by the way, for having me. Michael, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited to see what happens.
Yeah, me
So
too.
yes, my name is Darla, and I'm a relationship coach. I work with women, high achieving women who have been labeled too much. That's me.
Mm,
I really coach women that really are going through the same experiences I have. And, my journey, it's as most do, start in childhood. But what happened is that I started out coaching women that were recovering from narcissistic abuse, and through my own, because that was my
mm,
experience. And through my own healing journey over the past year or two, I realized it's bigger than me healing from the trauma. Why was I attracted to that person? Because I wasn't whole. And so really becoming whole within myself and saying, it's okay to be too much. I'm perfect just how I am. And I'm not for everybody. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And just really embracing that. And so, yes, it has led to this journey because a year ago, my life imploded. I went through a breakup. And then I realized after 2 months of isolation of healing that I had outgrown my friends. I left Arizona, went to Colorado, and I'm starting over. And in addition to that, I have these standards I didn't have a year ago. And while people I'm coming across are perfectly fine, wonderful people, I'm looking for deeper friendships. I'm looking for, I haven't dated in a year because I can't find anyone that meets the standard that I need to go out with someone. So yeah, here we are. I'm in between who I was and who I'm becoming.
okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. So you said this word standard. So could we talk about that a little bit? Okay. What does that mean to you?
Yes. So in the past, I didn't have criteria. I was kind of in the moment, chasing the feeling. I'll focus on romantic relationships because that's where I fall the hardest. And if someone love bombed me, I wasn't really paying attention to the red flags. I was like, oh my gosh, he likes me. So how I do things differently now, and I have standards. First of all, I have kind of a process. What are my values? What are really important to me? I value consistent communication, honesty, loyalty, those kind of things. And then I set standards based on that. And so I'm looking for certain personality traits that's, and that follows the loyalty, the honesty, but also I have certain, I guess you could say, rules, and these are just from me. When I give my phone number out, a guy has X amount of time to reach out because I want someone who's really into me. I want someone who's going to reciprocate and invest in as much as I do. And if he can't call me within a 2-week period to set up a date, he's not that interested. So then I just say, okay, if I even hear from him, I'll be like, nah, I can see we're out of alignment. I value consistent communication. So that's where the standard comes in. So that's an example.
I get it. we'll talk about this later. I want to talk about this later, but this, you're bringing up something. So I see, one of my gifts is I see the energy around something. So I can see you got hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so your words, like standard means something to me. I'm just curious, but it's not a word that you hear a lot in today's speech. Just you don't really hear that. My standards, you don't really understand really what you mean by that. But I'm hearing that energetically. That's like you've roped a rope around you, and like nobody crosses that line that meets certain criteria that you've preset, right?
Mm-hmm. And,
Good.
it's preventing myself from getting hurt, but it's opening the door for a relationship that's healthy as well.
Yes, I know where you're going.
Yeah.
But I also am aware that that puts an energetic thing around you, preventing you from having the thing that you actually want. So high level, that's a barrier.
Yes.
So it's also, and like, because I'm not female, but I had the narcissist in my family too. So I totally 1,000% get what you're talking about. And a lot of people had it. There's a certain lesson that comes out of it. It never allowed me to trust myself or trust myself in relationship to others. I needed somebody to tell me no for me to do something. And I needed what you said. I needed to be loved bombed. And all narcissistic people know that. And that's what they do. And you get enough at that at the beginning, it just like puts the blinders on so you can only, totally get it. But I'm also committed to listening for what you actually want to have real in your life. And later on, we'll have just a little conversation about the possibility of like having you have exactly what you want, but not having the thing preventing it from coming to you in your way. Like we're going to take the training wheels off. Those are like the training wheels, right? This is here, but what the energy is, it's like there's not really a trust yet built in me that I still need my training wheels on. And there's nothing wrong with any part of the journey, but we're talking about that void today and how powerful that void is and how much that void can actually turn into quicksand really, really quickly, and you never get out of it. So I'm committed to people having the thing actually that they want in their life real, so we can experience it, not someday, maybe day. Because I lived 50 plus years of my life like that. And like everything is at really now. And so I want that for you now because I see the spark in you and I see your passion for wanting to help other people. So I want to know like what the spark was that got you into like what you're creating now. And I also sense there's something that's still percolating back here. Is this true? Okay.
Oh my gosh, especially after
Okay.
narcissistic abuse, 100%.
Okay.
And that really is what got me into it. A couple of years ago, I broke up with my third narcissist. I was married to one and then had two boyfriends. And I'd been working really hard on my healing since 2013.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck is going on? Why do I keep doing this? What in me is lacking? And that's when I went into that deep dive. But
What did you
I was
find? What
seeing,
did you find? What did you find?
yeah. So going back to childhood, and I had, right. And
Yeah.
so my dad, was very unpredictable. I never knew what version of dad was going to come home from work. And so I learned a pattern of walking on eggshells. And while it's dysfunctional, it was familiar. And so my nervous system, because I'm trained in somatics, my nervous system said, this is familiar. So this is safe. So I was attracted to that, even though it was chaotic, right? I was seeing a therapist and she did not have lived experience in recovering from narcissistic abuse. And I firmly believe that we have to have some form of lived experience to be able to help people in specific areas. And I felt like I was being re-traumatized. That she was too demanding. She didn't understand the whole brainwashing aspect of it and was very harsh. And I started lying to her, not being truthful about what was going on in my life, and realized this is not helping anybody, and stopped seeing her and decided, I think that I'm not the only one out there that feels like this. There's got to be other women out there that feel like the mental health community doesn't see them for who they are. And I decided that's when I started on my certification. And I thought, I don't have a degree, but I don't need it because life is a degree. I
It
just want
sure the
some
hell
extra
is, right?
tools, right?
Yes. Yes. And what was because none of this really happens until you became aware of something. Like you were like living life, had no awareness of it, something happened, and then aha. What was your aha? What was the spark that like was like, whoa, well, I've never seen that before. I remember like when I first started to see it, because practice what you preach. We're always doing that. So all of a sudden, I found myself about 6 months before my dad passed, in a space where I had this person in my life that I quickly recognized loved bombed, and it's from a friendship or connective type of a situation, but like it was still, the energy is exactly the same. And I hadn't had that happen for a really long time because I just stopped having relationships in that way. That was my rope. I just turned it off and stayed really busy and became a workaholic. Yeah. So I feel you, but I also know what's on the other side of it too. So keep going. So you had this awareness, and then what happened? Like, what was the action? Because that's the next big step, is like the action, because that brings up fear. Like, where did you muster the courage, or how did you get through that moment to get where you're at?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Ironically, this is how I ended up coming back to Colorado. It's very full circle. So after that breakup with that last narcissist, I decided to go out of town during the holidays, and I came to Array for Thanksgiving, and I was listening to a book by John Kim called Single on Purpose. And he talks about self-love is not about mantras in a mirror. It's about understanding and knowing truly who you are, not who society says who you are, not what you do for a living. And I realized, oh my gosh, I don't know who I am. I only know what other people say I am. And that was a turning point for me. And that's when I started to really focus on who is it that I am, going on weekly dates, which I still do. I love food. I love exploring hiking trails and museums. So every week I go somewhere new, and really getting into what I enjoy, what I want, who I am under the surface. And that really shifted everything for me.
Okay, I'm hooked.
Yes.
What happened? Yeah. What happened?
Yeah. Yeah. And I had an epiphany.
What's happening? You're doing this now.
Yeah.
Like in real
Right.
life.
It is.
Created high value women, right? So that's a project you're like, what do you call that? Are you in a project stage of it, or like, where are you at in the process of this?
Yeah, it's an actual business that I started 1.5 years ago.
Okay.
And so it's many things. I coach women, and it's over the past 1.5 years has changed. Like I said, it started with narcissistic abuse, and then wait a minute, remember that epiphany you had? It's really about wholeness within myself. And so teaching women in real time. I mean, sometimes I'm just a step or two ahead. Like, I live it first, and I'm really big. And that's a big thing for me, is being authentic on and off the camera, because I want to live it and be it. And it actually motivates me when I feel weak, like, oh, I don't want to do this because this is not a good example for my clients. But anyway, helping these women to recognize, no, I'm not too much imperfect, and really helping them to understand that how we do one thing, we do everything. And our relationships are failing because we're failing ourselves. It's a self-abandonment, right? I also podcast as well. And so, do several topics, but I really like to focus on creating magnetic connections, that when we have agency, when we take up space, when we have embodiment, and we combine all of that, we create a life, which I'm in the process of creating, that really honors who we are and the people we find that attract. And that's where the void comes. We have to let go. We have to let go of them that don't honor us.
What happened when you did let go?
Oh, that was painful. It started with a breakup last November. I'm kind of big on
Like you initiated
anniversaries.
it? You
I
initiated
did.
it?
I did.
Wow. So was this your first initiation of a this is not working out?
No, it wasn't my first, but I think it was one of the most painful. Um, I was really invested in this relationship. It wasn't, I thought it was going to go long term, but I hadn't been with him for a really long time. And I had such high hopes. I thought this is it. This is what I've worked so hard for over this past 10 years. And when the crushing realization came that no, actually, this isn't, while this gentleman wasn't a narcissist, he did many of the same things, the whole love bombing, the future faking. I loved him very much, but I loved myself more. I think that was the first time I realized that. And that in order to continue my growth, I had to walk away. But then it was a domino effect because he was a friend of a friend. I met him through my best friend. And she was trying to get me to get back with him after I just told her all the reasons why I broke up with him. And I realized, oh my gosh, I can't be with this. I love this woman. She's an amazing woman, but she's in a place I'm not anymore. And it was this painful chipping away, which still is happening, of realizations of this is a beautiful person, but they're not right for me anymore. And I've had to hurt feelings. People are angry with me. They don't understand. And I've had to be okay with them not being okay with
Yeah, that's a hard one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We're so programmed to be liked. Yeah. So I applaud your courage for doing that. That's it's a very, very, very difficult thing to do. So once you break that china, because that's what you
Yes.
did, you were like, which you have to do, right? Like you
Yeah.
have to do. You're not going to do. It's like starting a new business. You're not going to do it perfect the first time. Like you're stepping out of something, and I'll assert that pain was just because you actually felt it this time, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you can get out of relationships and go right into something else. That's just a name change, same sort of energy, but you were committed to shifting the energy and like going through that pain point. So in it, like what was the thing that, because we're not talking about it out loud, but I'm going to ask you a question about, let's just say, hypothetically, that he was the one. Not that he is, but just say he hit all the metrics and it all worked out. It all worked out 10 years in the future. You're still just happy as hell together. What is there in that Darla that's not present in this Darla? Can you detect that space and what that thing is? What is the thing that you would have or you think you would have had it all worked out? I'm just curious.
Yeah. I think that Darla is comfortable with the grays, where previous Darla is all black and white. That's why she rushed into relationships. That's why she chased the feeling. That's why the love bombing worked. Where new Darla in the future takes her time, doesn't feel like the clock's ticking in her mid 50s, that, oh, I'd rather take my time. I'd rather be alone and single on purpose until the right one shows up. But if this guy has, let's say he was the right one,
And you're 10 years
I,
out, it all worked out. What does
yeah,
that Darla have that's not present right now? From an energetic space, not a physical thing, but
okay,
something inside of you that you don't have now or not aware of now. That Darla figured out and has and made it work to fulfill your dream. This is a dream that this is something you actually want, or we wouldn't be here.
mm-hmm,
I mean, you're ripping yourself apart for this stuff.
mm-hmm.
Moved states, went through fear. What is the thing you're going after? That's what I want to know.
Maybe this came to mind. It's no longer feeling lonely when I'm alone. That I am 100% content in my own space.
Whoa. Whoa. Isn't that funny that the wiring is attached? Can we look at this from a 30,000 feet view? Okay. We're just looking down on ourselves right now, having this conversation. But think about this. Only thing that Darla is figured out is how to be comfortable in her own skin. Do you think that has shit to do with a man?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
This is where we need to talk. This is where the gold's at.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a fundamental principle in the universe. You're really just the reflector. So if you think something outside of yourself has to complete this.
Oh, no.
So you hearing me right now? Okay.
I'll hear you. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
This is the shift. This is the shift. So what do you got to do right now to know that without that man, person, energy, anything outside of yourself? Because when the thing that activates, when this happens inside, this automatically changes on the outside. Like that. So what's 10 is 10, perfect, best case scenario, everything worked out. You like are comfortable in your skin no matter who's around you, no matter what time of day or night it is. You are in there like swimwear. You are totally synced in alignment with yourself. That's a 10. Where are you at right now on that scale of 0 to 10? Where do you see, honestly, of being comfortable in your skin?
I'm going to say I'm between a 6 and a 7. I'm definitely not at a 10. Yeah.
Perfect. So that right now, we have boiled all of this down to this one little gap that if that were 10 here, everything around you would align to that. And right now, everything's aligning about a 6.5 because everything's a mirror. It's just very difficult to know where to look in that mirror. So here it is. And the funny part is that man is right on the other side of you getting to a 10. First. So what's not comfortable? And
I still feel
bigger question,
go ahead.
is it even like, do you even want it to be comfortable? Because like there's a conversation about comfort too that we had before we started the pod, remember? Like the uncomfortable part, like this is how deep that wiring is that you're talking about. But that actually is still being projected onto like your universe that you're living in, you know, like the realm that you're in, that you're creating. So I'm committed like no tomorrow that you have that. And I know intimately that it's in that 3.5 number gap. Like that's it. That's as simple as you can get it. And it's just that little conversation about what's still missing. That, and I assert it's not something that you do, it's just something that you remember, because you are already whole, perfect, you're strong, you've proven it, you're powerful, you started your own company, you're loving. I know you love harmony, and you want to be happy. Like those are the 7 universal truths about human beings that I've discovered for 60 years, for what it's worth. But like that, that's the juice. That's where you get that. That's where you get freedom. Yeah. So just tell me what you heard. Tell me what you heard. And like, I could hear people's heads going, what the hell? Like what is that? But like, this is how important getting clarity is for human beings. Because once you laser it, you can't unding a bell. You know this, you've worked with people, you know, you see their faces ding and you're like, oh, I love this. And you said something really powerful. We're all just a few steps ahead of wherever it is but that's part of how evolution works, and being a part of that and stepping out and being courageous with these conversations. So tell me, what's still left?
Yeah. And what I heard, you know, as far as the comfort zone, I think we can get comfortable in a spot, but if we truly want to change, there's never I'm healed, I'm done. If you want to continue to grow, there's a peeling of the onion that has to continually happen. So, you know, where that gap is for me is when I'm alone sometimes, to be totally authentic. I still feel lonely. I come home some nights after having a great night dancing and cry, right? There'll be a day when I don't do that anymore, but then there's going to be something else that I need to work on that I'm going to be uncomfortable.
When you're in those moments, like what's the thing that can you see anything that can make a difference when you're in those moments that could break that? Because in that moment, what you're really doing is you're believing that that's true. Like you're surrendering to that illusion, and you're collapsing your quantum reality on lonely, of being alone. So that's the pattern and the loop. So it either continues, or you can do something consciously to like trigger it or become aware of it before it becomes a full-blown episode. So there's 8 billion people on the planet. Billion with a B. You are never alone. You have energy and life all around you. That's the truth. You are never, ever alone. Ever. So that's not true. And then what the thing is, like, what is this feeling that I have? What if it's just a pattern? What if it's just a thing that just like you get a really good movie and you want to watch it again because you forget how it ends and you watch it again? It's like, what about that? But what you say you want has become so powerful that it's causing that separation. So now just in talking about it, you're opening an entirely different world up. So the only thing that really would make a difference is if you had just a little space that you could like observe and like, oh, I'm feeling that again. I am noticing that I'm feeling lonely again. I'm noticing that feeling coming up, and I'm just noticing that. I'm just noticing that I'm experiencing it. Oh my God, I'm noticing water coming out of my eyeballs. I'm just noticing that. So the next time that happens, pause a break. Put a sticky note on a window next to your bedroom where that would happen. They generally happen in the same space, by the way, those breakdowns. So whatever that space is, shift that space. Change the furniture, change the energy. Consciously do that because you're consciously and aware causing that break. Because if you don't, that loop will continue and you will never, ever complete it. And I guarantee you that's probably at least 2.5 or 3 points that would cose that gap.
Yes.
To you being a 10.
Yeah.
Hello,
and what I heard, yeah, right? What
Yeah.
I heard is focus on the positive. Hey, I was just country line dancing, which I didn't even know how to do 6 months ago, and I laughed instead of getting in the car and feeling the heaviness of the it's focusing on the positive of that evening versus the negative. Yes, I'm coming home by myself, right? But didn't I just have a fun time?
You're just coming home. You're coming home.
Yeah.
There's 8 billion people on the planet. You're coming home. There's 8 billion people on the planet.
Right.
Yeah, your voice, your words create your reality. There's spelling is spells. So I'm line danced. Yay! I can't do that. That would be a learning in public. That would be very uncomfortable for me. So yay! But you're coming home. You're just coming home. And you've started, that's where you pop out and become the observer. And you just observe yourself having whatever experience that you're having. And that observer creates that little bit of space where that becomes and will become, sort of like an echo. Oh, I remember her. I remember that voice. I remember those experiences. Thank God I woke up out of that because that gave me 10. That gave me being a 10 comfortable in my skin. There's nothing more important on the planet for you than to be a 10 in your skin. Like a 10 comfortable in your skin. That little thing will change your life. And it will complete it, and it will be in the past instead of in your now. And that's where you get to show up and help all the other women that are trying to get to you. Because they're there in the thousands that need what you have and only you can give because of the experiences that you've been through. And that's the part. Can you feel that closing now, just even talking about it? Like we've closed the gap since we've been on the call. Can you detect it in your body?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's an aha of, oh, it's just, not more of a mind shift. It's more of a habit shift, right?
It's an embodiment shift.
Yes, that's the word. Yes.
Yes. And that's the only thing that shifts your identity, because you identified, say I did it, identified as someone who was lonely. Not no more. You identify as being connected. And how you know is because you're connected 100% to yourself. When you know that, it doesn't matter what anybody or anything does around you. They can dance and their hair can be on fire, and you'd be like, I love it. Love that. Let everybody be exactly who they are. And then that's when that rope disappears, and nobody energetically even come close to you because of that 100% comfortable in their skin. Because if they're not 100% comfortable in their skin, they can't be around you, because they'll start itching and they'll get the hell out of there. There won't be a need for a rope or a boundary, and you're free. And so are they. And so are they. But they might read your book and go, hey, I know you only coach women, but could you help me? It works like that.
Yeah.
So that's who I see you as what you're creating. It's really great to see that energy of like seeing your face transform, because I can feel it.
Wow.
In your body.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I feel lighter because there's been a lot of heaviness. There's been a lot of things on my mind. And I think that really did help. That observer, it takes the charge out of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It takes the charge out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It stops it from being like an automatic thing that you're just watching. Well, you're not watching yourself do it when you're in the middle of doing it. It's that you are one with that thing, and there's no room, there's no separation. So we are the only ones that can separate, and the only way I've ever figured out in 60 years to do it is to become the observer. But it takes a specific conversation, a specific awareness, so that you know that a bell goes off. Mm-hmm. And now you'll catch yourself, even if you catch yourself already in it. It's just the moment that you catch yourself first, and it's inevitable now. It's inevitable that happens. And then that practice quickly and swiftly, because you've done so much work, that just becomes embodied in you, and you've just rang up another thing on the ladder. So congratulations, that's amazing. And thank you for being open and willing to have that conversation. And I want to know, besides the thing that already worked out for you, because that's how it lives for me now, that the person came and that you're living in total peace and harmony and love, but you're also helping with your company and what you're doing for women. So like, where do you see, like in your heart's, if your heart had an eyeball and it could vision, which it does.
Yeah.
It does it through feeling. But what's that dream for the people that you're serving, to be frank?
Mm-hmm. I had a vision when I was about 15. At the time, I was very religious, and I'm more spiritual now. So I misinterpreted. I thought I was going to be an evangelist, but this vision, I think, actually was very real. And now how I interpret it is that it was me on stage, and there was thousands in the audience. And I just started buzzing. What I see is that it's not one-on-one. Where it is now, it's one-on-one, because we have to build. But eventually, it's going to be thousands. It's going to be women coming because they know deep inside of them they deserve more. They just don't know how to get it. And there they are in the seats. And then there's the whole energy in the room, right? That they're feeding on each other. It's not just about me. It's about that crowd mentality when they see other women rising. And then they're like, wow, she can do it. I can do it. That's what I see.
And doing it. Yeah. Like you open the door.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of cool, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. I profoundly love what I do. Or what I get to do. It's extraordinary. And I get to meet people like you that are doing extraordinary things, and still we're doing it being human, having the things that we have. And if we didn't have them, though, it would have never gotten us here. But as I've learned the hard way, what gets us here doesn't get us there. You have to stop, you have to pause, and you have to have really powerful conversations with people that are authentic. And that's what I don't see enough in the world and I got tired of it. I'm like, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to start doing that. Because I was having them in my head anyway. So I might as well just learn to like do them out loud and like it feels better. So thank you for playing along and appreciating. And we'll make sure that everybody gets all your information in the description box below and how to reach you when they hear this. I know they're going to get a lot out of it. But what's your takeaway for today? Or what wisdom would you share with somebody that was you 5 years ago?
Wow. That you're not too much, that you deserve everything, and all of your comfort zones aren't really serving you. Get out of that comfort zone and be okay with change. Even in the void, just be okay with it. Because if I look back to who I was 5 years ago, I wouldn't want to go back there for anything.
Not a thing. Not a thing. Thank you. You brought this up so many times. I follow this guy on Instagram, and his name's Dan Martell. I don't know if you've ever heard of him before, but he's a business person, and he's just, I love his vibe. His energy is really authentic, and I just love watching him. Not from the perspective of like, oh, I want to be all of that, but it's like he's just got a way of saying things, and he does these lives. And it was one this morning at 6 o'clock when I woke up and was having my coffee, and he was talking, doing these lives. I think he was in some weird island in the Philippines or wherever he was at, but he was having a conversation with this guy, and the guy kept bringing up that people thought he was too much, and Dan said that happened to him, and he's like, yeah, I am too much, and I totally get it if you want less, and that's okay. I'll help you find less, but yeah, I know who I am. So you know who you are, and people, if they don't want all of it, there's always less available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And less is okay for them. Not okay for you. No, not okay for me either. With that, I'm going to end the pod today. Like, thank you for being here, and like just having an out-of-box conversation. We had no idea where this one was going to go, but I felt something in my heart that was going to be helpful for a lot of people. And I know you're doing that in your own life, and thank you for showing up, and thank you for saying yes to the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. And thank you for the aha moment.
My pleasure. It's what I live for. Thank you guys for listening in. I know you got tons of value. If you did, give us a like, share us on wherever you listen to your podcast or watch. Thank you, Darla. I appreciate it. Have fun in Colorado this weekend, and we will all see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.